The mission itself was actually a bit of a conglomerate because there used to be I don't remember the name of it precisely, but there was a Swiss mission that had, that German-speaking part of Switzerland. Might have been the Bern mission. I don't really remember it, to be honest. Then there was the Munich mission, which encompassed like that southern Germany and Austria part, if I remember correctly. Don't quote me. But that all got put together to form the Alpine German-speaking mission, and so that included the German-speaking part of Switzerland on the western border. Then in the center, there was most of Baden-Württemberg and Bayern, which is southern Germany. And then on the eastern side, there was all of Austria. The entire country of Austria is in the mission. And down south, they actually included as well a German-speaking portion of northern Italy. And that was our southern border. And then kind of squeezed into the middle was this tiny little country called Liechtenstein. And so that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, those five countries, and they all spoke what each of them would call the perfect language, and I agree with most of them. But so I started in Austria, and was in what was called Niederösterreich, and that is Lower Austria. It's the section of Austria that includes like Vienna and the surrounding area over there. And I lived in St. Pölten, went to Vienna for district meetings and stuff. It was really interesting. The history of the church there, or at least like as it is now, like the state of the church, I suppose. It's very I would say concentrated in the big cities, because the stake in Vienna, there's two stakes in Austria. There's the Vienna stake and the Salzburg stake. And Vienna itself has 5 wards, one of them international, so English speaking. And outside of Vienna, then you'll get mostly branches and some wards, So a lot of the member population is actually in the cities themselves. There's a lot of stuff that happened, with World War II, that caused a lot of people to leave the country. And so, regardless of if they were members of the church or not, or any other group that had reason to leave, a lot of people just got up and left, because frankly, that was the best thing to do. And it's interesting, though, to look at it, because the church has been there for a long time. I don't remember the exact dates, but Europe was one of the earlier missions that apostles and missionaries were sent to in the early days of the church. England is a big famous one. Germany was one of the early places as well to receive the LDS missionaries. Here in Provo, we have BYU, and, Carl G. Mazur's got a building named after him. He helped found the school and such. He's German. He was an early German member. He was like an educational reformer, a very important guy. And I think there's even a statue of him up somewhere in Saxony, in Sachsen, as we called it. And that's a big deal, because you don't get a lot of the patriotism over there in the sense that we would think of it. Because here in America, life's great and all that, and we wave our flags, and we're proud of who we are. And I would say they have those similar feelings of love for land and fellow countrymen, but culturally, you can't express it like that. Just because so many times when they've been united under a single banner, it's been like a time of war. Last one being World War II, which didn't necessarily go very well. And for, what they recognize and the world recognizes as good reason, it was a very evil thing that was being done by, it's almost, I feel weird saying it because it's kind of taboo to talk about the Nazis, but, it's a good thing they fell, and everyone recognizes that. But that they were very patriotic during that time. They were very into waving their flags and going to rallies. And when that fell, it was just one of those things where they kind of never again, we're not going to be that. We're not going to let ourselves be hoodwinked one more time. And so they have this love of who they are, but they express it very differently. It's, I would say, me and my roommate, we both served in this mission. And so we talk about it sometimes just to, look back on how great it was, right? But also theorize a little bit. And, alcohol is a very big thing over there. We actually served in a city called Ingolstadt, which is in Bayern. In English, we call it Bavaria. And there was a law they passed there centuries and centuries ago called the Reinheitsgebot, which was translated the purity law. And that was like one of their first laws that decided nutritionally what is allowed and not allowed in what you eat or drink. And this one particularly had to do with what is and is not allowed when you're making beer. And it just goes back throughout their entire culture. Beer's always been there. Like, you look at it from this perspective. I was talking with a member once, and he said, let's look at it from the historical perspective of the farmer of the 1400s or 1500s. He said, what did you have to drink? You had water, which was filled with diseases, or you had beer, which was sterile because of the alcohol. And it was already a pretty low alcohol content anyway, so you could put down a few mugs and still go out and farm without a problem. And it was, carbonated, it had a flavor. That was like, heaven's gift to man, He's like, that was a big deal. And there's a lot of pride that goes into their brewing. It's part of their national identity. It's really one of the ways that it's okay for them to show that love of land. And it's something that I think in a lot of American LDS culture, if we can call it that gets very easily misunderstood. I think it was Paul, what he wrote in the Bible, talking about, and I wish I could quote it word for word, but there was a verse, a section of verses where he talked about, to the Jews, I became as a Jew. To those imprisoned, I became as one imprisoned. To those without the law, I came as one without the law, Just talking about how, yeah, he was a messenger of Jesus Christ, but he wasn't there to simply tell others your lifestyle's wrong. He was there to show them, you're a great people, and there's a lot of good in what you do. And I think it's really interesting, all these personal cultural quirks that you have. And he accepted and applied to himself everything he encountered and understood it, at least, because, obviously not everything you can do. With the word of wisdom, we're not going to go out and drink so we can understand the people, but you can learn about it and you can appreciate it. And from there, you can get a deeper sense of who the people are and actually connect with them. And that goes for a lot of other things as well, not just alcohol. But that one, I think, was one I ran across that a lot. So if I spent quite a few minutes there talking about it, there's probably a reason for it.